And yo, the Sports Bad Bros podcast is back. And we're back because the NBA may not be back. So much going on in the NBA, the most tainted league in all of sports right now. I think even around the world, the sport is an international sport, but the NBA not looking good in the eyesight of anyone. What's good?
Man, what's crazy is sometimes I watch games and when a player will be having an absolute crack game, and I'll be like, man, he's playing like he got money on the other team.
Bro, I say the same.
And then watching the highlights of the game in question for Rozier, I'm like, had I been watching that game, I'd have been saying, man, this dude got money on the other team.
And you'd have been right.
It was so obvious, man. It reminded me of Blue Chips. You know, when coach was watching the video and they're like, no, not Tony. That was my guy.
That's my
looking
guy.
At the clock, looking at the clock, throwing the ball away. Man, those were terrible turnovers. Shooting the air balls. Man.
Those were WNBA air balls.
And bro. I don't get it, man. If you're still in the league, you're still making good money. Why do you have to do that? Is he trying to hook up people? I don't see the benefit from it. Now, if you're out of the league a few years and you need income, I could kind of understand it.
It's still wrong.
Yeah, right. I could kind of understand, yo, man, my bank account probably spent too much. I haven't invested well. I need a means of income. Okay, maybe you make a poor decision and you go that route. But in the league, throwing games, taking yourself out, faking an injury, come on, man. He should be banned for life.
That's banned for life. He's going to be in prison. He won't be able to play.
Well, I'm just saying because I don't know about Adam Silver and his hammer or lack thereof. I just don't have a lot of confidence in him.
Well, the FBI.
I mean, he had a chance to investigate himself without the FBI.
Yep.
And he found nothing.
Now the FBI is in it, so it's out of his hands anyway if something were to go down the hill. But I'm talking about the number of players and people involved. I mean, the number of people, period, involved in all of these scams, from the poker betting and now obviously the point shaving or just lack thereof, prop bets, because the prop bets are pretty damn big in Vegas. So if you do have a prop bet, Rozier was letting his people know. Now, he was an idiot for telling anybody, but that's what he did. And then he had to bring the money to his house, the winnings, $200,000 to his house. What the hell? He was so sloppy about it.
Not very smart.
And this is something that's been going on that they talked about for 2 years at least. 2 years as an investigation. So when they came over with these indictments, it wasn't like they just saw him a couple of weeks ago and said, you know what? I think something's wrong. We might have got him on tape. They're talking about thousands of phone calls that were recorded, tapped phone calls. So waiting till those things are heard because they hadn't been heard yet from what I know. And they're talking about the names that are on there. You know, I heard LeBron James' name floated, but in what capacity? You know, where at? Or just somebody out there throwing his name out there. But with this kind of thing going on, that kind of money being made, man, and Chauncey Billups getting arrested at home.
I don't know. For all the GOAT talk, LeBron has some very questionable plays himself.
Bro, now
sometimes where he catches the ball and he just walks, takes 5 steps, and then dribbles, and they're like, hey, what did they call traveling? Or the one time he's letting the ball roll, and he rolls, and then it's almost out of bounds, and then an opponent comes, and he kind of knocks it out of bounds. Like, why didn't you pick it up? There's just certain plays that don't make sense.
Now they make it more sense now after what just happened. We know what happens. We know the referees were involved in the past. Well, at least a referee that was caught. Well, Donaghy, the referee that was caught. Yeah, he was caught. You know, now he's talking as an authority on it. And now you even have, because it's tied to the mafia. So when it's tied to the mafia, you thought all of it was tied to the mafia because it's Vegas, it's gambling. Anytime there's something where there's money that's being made now legally, because everything seems to be legal gambling wise, but there's still that illegal element out there and that criminal element out there. The mafia may just be involved. They act like that the mafia isn't as strong as it used to be, and it probably isn't. I can't even speak for that. But they're talking about 4 out of the 5 families in New York being involved, including the Gambinos, which was at one point the strongest family, the biggest family in all the United States. And man, I know Mike Franzese, the guy who's been in the, I think he was in the Colombo family years ago. He talked about how a conversation like that would go with the player. And he talked about how it actually happened. He just didn't name names, but he talked about how it went down, how he would play with being deep to him. And then he would have to come out. They're deep to his guy, his bookie.
Right.
And then when he's deep to his bookie, when it gets deeper, then he brings him to Mike. And Mike has to talk to him like, hey, do you have a rich godfather, a rich friend, a rich family member to take care of this? Of course, the dude doesn't. So, I like you. So I'm going to give you a chance to,
make this right.
To make this right. Because, you just can't walk away from a bet. Not from us. So, you're going to drop the ball. As a football player, you're going to drop the ball a couple of times in this game.
Irving Fryer.
The player looks, you know what? You never know. Now, because of things like that, you start looking at sports, period. People typically say it's rigged or something like that most times because they are bad bettors. And so when they lose a game, they thought they should have won. Man, it's rigged because you're a terrible bettor. You're a terrible handicapper. You don't know how to gamble. That's why. But now with this coming out and other things from the past, Scooter McDougal, I continue to talk about him, but Toledo, he passed away now. But, man, it's happened over and over. And now on a grand scale like this in the social media age where now everybody has access to who's doing it.
Yeah, I think the only thing we have to be careful with is all of the trolls that are out there. I saw a video and they're saying LeBron point shaving. I'm like, let me see what this is about. And they picked the Bulls game last year. He did have a bad turnover. They're saying it was a 2.5 point spread and the Bulls won by 3 or by 1. I don't remember. But he had a bad turnover, and then somebody missed a free throw. And then Josh Giddey hit a half-court shot at the buzzer. Like, come on, man. If you got to hit a half-court shot to cover the spread, you're not point shaving, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if that shot doesn't go in, then you don't get the final result. It's not like, oh, look at that terrible defense. He just let him go in for the layup. Now we're talking. You let a guy go in for a crib, but if a dude hits a half-court shot, I think he was even past half-court. If he got to shoot it from the other side of the court and it goes in, come on, man, that's not point shaving.
And I also heard that there was a football game. I can't remember if it was a college game or what have you. I think it might have been a college game. It had to be if the line was involved, of how the quarterback could have just taken a knee and just ended the game. And he ran all the way back to the other end zone, got a safety, and it covered the spread. Now, crap like that, and that's let you know that the numbers are involved. This past game with Miami, they were already up. It's a 30-point line. It was 30.5. I know it went down to 29 in some books, 29.5, but it was a 30.5-point line because that's where I got it at. And I was like, man, there's no way Miami's beating them by 31 points. Stanford isn't a good team, but Miami offensively of late, especially with Carson Beck being the quarterback, I was like, no way. They're feeling the doldrums right now. This isn't Cam Ward. This is freaking Carson Beck. No way. And there's seconds on the freaking clock. And it's 35-7. They get this touchdown. Normally, when it's already out of hand like that, they're taking knees. They're running conservative plays. But they get another touchdown. And now the 42-7. And the line is covered. And I'm like, get the hell out of here. Get out of here. But that's what happened. So now,
I don't know. Crystal ball could be from that Jimmy Johnson school of thought.
Just run them up.
Yeah, because he said, well, people don't remember we blew a 20-point lead in the fourth quarter to so-and-so. And I'm like, that will never happen again. So he's like, I have no mercy for my opponent. No more comebacks.
I remember Barry Switzer beating Missouri 77-0. They'll just keep scoring until you can stop them. If you want them to stop, try to stop them.
Tom Osborne had a lot of games like that, 63-0, 70-7. And I remember Bobby Bowden getting a little heat for running it up. He's like, hold on. My players, my second team, my third team players, we run the same offense.
Yep.
Nobody gives Tom Osborne any heat for running the option with his backup players. We're developing our players. When you tell Tom Osborne to stop running the option in the third, fourth quarter when they're up 50, I'll stop throwing the ball with my players.
Yeah, and your backup player just happens to be like Oklahoma years ago with Barry Switzer. Your second string happens to be All-Americans as well. They're just second team All-Americans. They're beating other ranked teams. This is your second team. That's how dominant Oklahoma was. But going back to all this money, Chauncey Billups, his NBA career is over. I don't think he even gets in the Hall of Fame. I'm hearing people say they should treat him the way they treated Pete Rose. Pete Rose never bet on his own team. Chauncey didn't give a damn. He was just betting, playing poker and all the other stuff and just gambling. I can't wait for the rest of it to come out.
Yeah, but cheating your colleagues, man, that's foul as hell, dude.
Bro, you got to be low. And I always rock with Chauncey, man. Everybody likes Chauncey.
I'm just saying,
his old school days in Colorado, man.
That's the dirt. That's the scum of the earth, bro. Hey, you guys want to come over for poker night? Yeah, we'll be over. And then you cheat them. Oh, come on, man. That ain't cool.
Big money too.
Yeah, that's not cool. Like, how come fucking Chauncey always wins, man? This bullshit.
Chauncey
now they know why.
Now you freaking know, man. He better be glad he don't really get it, man. Somebody might hear all this stuff. You don't know what kind of insidious people he's been dealing with coming out of the woodwork or just seeing.
There might be a line of witnesses ready to testify.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's going to end badly. It started badly. It ends badly. I don't think there's enough money to pay these lawyers to lie and say they don't know anything for him to get off of this one, because the government, when they are investigating for all this time and they come down with the indictment, they're damn near undefeated when they take your ass to trial.
Yeah. So, but I mean, as far as actual basketball, there's been some really good games played.
And that's the problem. I was about to say, I was like, yo, this is the time of year you don't even want to talk about basketball till about Christmas time. But you get Austin Reeves dropping over 50. You get Wimby as a freak of nature and all this other good stuff going on in the backdrop of this nonsense.
You got the Rockets and Pistons. They have a little scuffle, and then he realized it was where Amen Thompson's brother. He was like, he thought he was looking at his teammate. Whoa, I'm good. He didn't want. He's like, he remembered. He got a twin brother. I'm not gonna mess with him. Yeah, but man. I mean, normally NBA players don't care this time of season. You don't see any skirmishes or double overtime games. OKC, they started off 2 straight overtime games. I think double overtime, actually.
Man, but this Austin Reeves thing still throws me off. I'm like, I always say he's a pretty good player. But it also goes back to what I've always said. On any given freaking night, anyone on that roster can just show up. When Dante DiVincenzo was doing it for the Knicks, 35 points, when you're like, damn, I know he's a nice baller, but that's not his role. And he does it any damn way. And now you get Austin Reeves drop for a half a century. And I'm like, yo, what's going on? And he has that ability. Now, I'm thinking Dalton Connect would be one of those guys that just comes out of woodwork and gives you a nice 35-point game. He hasn't done it yet, but I think he has that ability as well.
He could. And Cooper Rush, he hit the ground running, man. He's balling. Not that he's putting up 35, 40, but, he's had some 20-point games, dunking on people. I say Cooper Rush, that's the football player.
Cooper Rush, the quarterback.
Cooper Flag. Cooper Rush. But, yeah, he it's really early, but as far as rookie of the years go, he's making a statement early.
And they were giving him his props during the time when he practiced with the NBA players during the Olympics. They were giving him mad props then. He wasn't just there in attendance. Even Christian Laettner years ago, when they took him instead of Shaq, wasn't necessarily doing anything in practice, but those were the greatest players of all time. But here, Cooper Rush was in the mix with the players, and they gave him props.
Flag.
Now you got Cooper Flag, man. Cooper Flag comes in, and he's playing with the players, man, and they're giving him props, talking about his toughness, the way his game is, and how far ahead he is maturation-wise. So, yeah, man, the NBA get over the right foot, but the wrong foot in news and the headlines.
Right. And just when I thought I might have to eat some crow because the Warriors were playing well, they go out and lose to the Trailblazers by 20.
Well, yeah, Trailblazers. And it just happens to be the night before they took Chauncey. They did lose the night before. Before Chauncey got busted, the Trailblazers lost the night before. Now, he could get away with that because the team's not that good anyway. They're not expected to be good. They're expected to be improved, at least from last season. So them losing beforehand isn't, he was up to shenanigans. That's probably why they lost. Nah, they lost because they just a team that you're not expecting to do a lot in. The freaking West, which is drowning in talent, drowning in teams who are going to eventually be the NBA champs. I don't think anything's coming from the East. But anyways, that's what it was basketball-wise. Some sad news along with some great news, but the black cloud lingers over the NBA. I'm Travis, he's biased, and the Sports Bag Bros podcast will come back with some more NBA, but I wonder what kind of news is it going to be. But until then, deuces.
Out.